Simplified Chaos, episode 85.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Hey, wonderful friends. Welcome to another episode of Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian, one of your hosts, and I'm with my husband and co-host, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? Hope you all are having another great week. Sorry for the computer noises in the background. If you hear that, it's making a bunch of noises right now. But I promise that'll go away, or you might not be hearing it at all. Jilly, we got another good episode here for everybody. What are we talking about?
Today's episode topic is all about relationships during COVID.
Yeah. Thought we would analyze those a little bit more, see how our relationship between me and you has changed, if any, our relationship as parents, and then our relationship with our housemates.
Our roommates.
Our roommates.
Don't forget our kid.
And I did say that.
You said parenting.
Well, yeah, that does involve Lucille, doesn't it?
I guess it does. You're right. JK.
All right, but before we get into that, as always, we'd love to show a little gratitude. So, Jilly, what are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful for you, boo.
Me? Oh, I have a feeling I know why.
Well, I was going to say, there's a
because I make great cocktails.
Well, I wasn't even thinking that, actually. But yes, what's the name of that cocktail you made tonight?
The Enzoni.
With muddled grapes?
Muddled grapes. No one really thought to put grapes in a cocktail before, but it is fantastic.
It's really good. It's one of my new favorites. And I know it takes you a little bit more time to curate, but it is well worth it.
Oh, yeah. So if you guys are looking to try Campari for the first time, which is a very bitter liqueur, this is a good introduction to that.
It is. I really didn't like Campari until you made it with this combination.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I see you, Campari.
Yeah.
But I am grateful, for a slew of things. First off, for just being open-minded, just spontaneous. When I'm like, hey, Nick, do you want to go to a park tonight? And you're like, yeah, let's go for it. It was really hot tonight and super sticky and humid. And
the air was what you called still.
Yeah. And you could have easily been like, yeah, I don't feel like it. Now let's just stay here. But you're like, yeah, let's go for it. You're always down for doing things. And I just really appreciate you and having that fly by the seat of my pants attitude and just being a great sport. And also for watching Lucille while I was away for 3 nights for Randy's family bachelorette party. It was really nice to connect and get away. We went back to Charlottesville, which was, it was bittersweet.
There's a trend there, right?
Last time I was there was about two or 3 weeks ago. It was with you. And, unfortunately you were not there with us, but I had a great foundation for what was good. And then we kind of added to it, which was really, really nice and made for a very laid back, relaxing trip.
Hell yeah. No, I'm glad you guys got to go down there, all the girls, and have a nice little family weekend. So, it was my pleasure. And we had an awesome time. We went to my parents' house out in Delaware. They got a chance to spend almost 2 days with their granddaughter, and she just had an amazing time. And, she's a lot more comfortable, being with them, around them, and just being herself. So it was just awesome to have that time with her.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you grateful for?
So I'm grateful for just like Lucille and I's bedtime routine. And it's usually, every night is obviously different, but it usually kind of ends up the same way. But last night was kind of a curveball. And I posted something on my Instagram about it last night just because it just, I don't know, it's just really cool that I stay in there until she falls asleep because I get to see these things. So we're in there and she goes, Papa, monkey chair, which she has this chair that's got a monkey on it. It's got, the little things hanging down. It's supposed to vibrate, but we've never put batteries in that. So I'm like, it's right here in front of us. And she's like, no, Papa, monkey chair. I'm like, yeah, it's right here. What do you want me to do with it? And she wasn't able to communicate what she wanted with it, but I just moved it. And I think that's what she wanted. She wanted it in the middle of the room. So she goes and she sits in it. And then she goes, Papa, sock. Papa, I want a sock. I'm like, okay, I know what she's going with this. She tends to put a sock on her hand. She calls it I call it Mr. Socko from Mick Foley in the WWE. And so she's like,
I have no idea.
Yeah, you have no idea. I'll have to show you a clip of that. It's actually pretty hysterical. So she puts the sock on her hand. And then finally she sees Chilly Willy, the doll, laying in her crib. And she goes, Chilly? You know, she has this way of saying Chilly. So I bring Chilly over there. She takes the sock off and she's asking me to rock the monkey chair. So, okay, let's go ahead and do that. Rock the monkey chair. And within 5 minutes, she fell asleep.
Rock the monkey. Rock the monkey. Let's try to do it. Rock the Kashba.
I'll give you an A for the attempt on that one.
I tried my best.
Yeah. But it was just really cool. Just her dictating how she wanted to fall asleep. And then she shocked us this morning and was able to open her door. Got out of her room and started knocking on our door to come in.
She can turn knobs.
Holy crap. So, and very interesting 24 hours with her. It was awesome. I wouldn't change anything. I love just being in the room, watching her go to sleep. I know some parents may think it's an inconvenience to do that, or that you're supposed to let them go in there and fall asleep by themselves. But, you know, for me, I really just kind of enjoy that slow time and just being able to be with her while she goes to sleep. And I'm not saying that there's a right or a wrong way to do that either. Like, this is just the way that I prefer to do it. And, you know, it's just great. And if I didn't do that, then I would have missed something totally cool like that last night.
Yeah, I mean, she forces us to move and play, and then she forces us to slow down. So
yeah.
Thanks, Lucille, for balancing the hell out of our day.
Hell yeah. All right.
Cool.
So, want to jump into our COVID relationship episode here?
So you brought up this topic, and I thought it was very interesting. It kind of made me reflect on what changes we've had as in our marriage, what changes we've had, you know, with our roommates, with Lucille, and kind of what changes I've had with myself, just as far as our everyday. Like, a lot of things have changed.
Yeah.
We've been in close quarters for
almost 6 months now.
Yeah, and I don't really think
well, maybe 5 months. I don't even know. See, that's the thing. Nobody knows anymore.
And we've talked about things we're doing to make it more exciting and things that we're noticing, you know, with traveling and just, you know, trying to get more experiences and being creative with that. But I don't think I really dissected our relationship, which I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing, which means I don't think many changes have happened, but I know there have been tweaks and things that we have done. I want to say subconscious intentional, if that makes any sense, because it's like we knew ahead of time that we had to make some changes in order to feel more at ease and to feel more healthy, you know, with everything being in the home.
Yeah, and just being around each other a lot more. Yeah, obviously it's tough for us to go and hang. I mean, and we've hung out with friends and stuff like that, but it's certainly not at the level that it used to be. So we're around each other a lot more. We're around Lucille a lot more together or separately, and we're around, you know, our roommates a lot more. So there's a lot of time where we're all together in this house. And I thought it would be a good idea for us to reflect on how that's either benefited our relationship, if it's challenged our relationship, if it's done nothing at all. And you know, and I thought this would be a good idea for us to kind of just talk about it.
Yes. And the overall theme that I found as I was going through all those different relationships was that communicating my wants and my needs, no matter how crazy they sounded like, just putting it out there and not being afraid of that. And then just establishing routines and rhythms to meet those needs and wants with everything. That has been the meat and potatoes of me thriving in this scenario. I'm not sure if you noticed that too.
I think it's the same thing. And I always felt that we were great communicators before, but it really, kind of looking back on just some of the situations, particularly early in the whole pandemic when we were sheltering in place for a long time with really no contact with anybody, it was clear to see when you were frustrated or needed something or needed something else. And I'm sure it was the same way with me. And typically we would communicate that. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes I feel like, we were holding things in and just like, you know what, this is just the situation. Let's deal with it. We know this is something that's out of our control. But then I think it was like even during one of our early COVID episodes where you kind of opened up and said something, and, it kind of led to us communicating even more after that podcast episode. And I think you hit the nail on the head. And it's not just with families, but businesses that communicate well to their employees are the ones that are being successful now too. And I feel like when you're in a household with folks, communicating how you feel, if you feel like you're doing more of the work in the house, or if you feel like you're being more of a parent than somebody else, that it's important to speak up and say how you're feeling so that you can have a critical conversation on how you can resolve that. And like you said, change your routines to meet the needs of each other. So it's about working together and not separately. And it really does start with communication.
Yeah, definitely. Transparency is crucial, especially when you see each other all the time and you're like, all right, we need to get some things in order for me to thrive independently, and then with you, and then with Lucille. Did you want to start first with kind of like our marriage?
Yeah. I mean, and I think just kind of talking about the communication was the first part. Is I did feel like we were really good at communicating about things, and it became apparent early on that maybe we weren't communicating as much as we should, particularly about, feeling either stress or anxiety or just needing to step away for a few minutes. And we really started doing that much better after we had that episode there. But that was really the one big thing that I saw in our relationship. Also early on too, and even to this day, I mean, the extracurricular activities were always on point and are continuing to be on point.
It was like extracurricular activities.
What I'm talking about.
Can you just say sex? Because I was like, what? Are we
I like
playing
making
Frisbee?
I like making you think late at
I
night.
was definitely at a question mark. Yes, I will say we already kind of had routines in place for having sex like twice a week. And that has carried on. I think that has kind of helped keep us both in check with making sure that we're finding ways to be romantic and compliment each other, because, I need some kind of foreplay buildup. I can't just, go at it.
Pull-ups.
I'm not like a dude. And we had to be creative with finding ways to just be more intentional romantics, I will say that the one thing that is different is like the whole date nights aspect. We managed to squeeze out, like, I think we're really good at finding pockets of opportunities to make it happen. And we found a pocket, and we went out in Baltimore for a date night, and then we were able to sneak away for a little getaway. So I think we're doing the best with what we can work with, and we are finding ways to connect without Lucille, which I think is truly, truly important. And of course, this podcast kind of lends that as well. It schedules in time once a week where we talk without Lucille.
It's our little therapy session sometimes.
It so is. And we definitely schedule in time for connection. Like, as soon as COVID started, not long after, we were like, hey, why not once a week we go grab coffee and just chat, even if it's just maybe not even chatting, maybe it's just kind of like sitting in a car and just being with each other and just being okay with just being with each other and getting out of the house. It feels like a nice reset for the middle of the week. And to be able to do that with you and even sit in the silence or sit in the chat, it's nice for us.
Yeah, I think early on it was just kind of silent rides. Like, it was just like, well, we kind of know everything about each other's day. Not much is going on. Let's just listen to some music and grab some coffee. But now it's, working, you're building your business, and then now things are starting to gear up as the school year starts to approach. So there's been a lot more chatter than I would say early on. It was just kind of like, all right, we know what's going on in each other's day. You're watching the kids. I'm downstairs working. What else is there really to talk about? But yeah, I agree. The date night things have changed a lot, and we were lucky enough to get out to go to, why can't I think, Gunther.
Oh yeah.
Gunther and Company, and then go to Charlottesville. on a actual couple night trip, which was amazing. But our date nights really still consist of being here in the house. So yeah, that has changed, but it's also been great. You know, we have a nice routine with our roommates. You know, I'll buy dinner one week and then Mark will buy dinner the next week. So it's really nice. It's not nickeling and diming or anything like that. It's just like, you know, hey, it's my week, or hey, it's your week. And we all like the same stuff, which makes it easy. So we can all order from the same place rather than us going to 5 different places and picking up things. So yeah, our date nights have changed, but it's also, you know, brought us together as a household, I think, a lot closer as well.
So I guess we can talk about our roommates. I feel like not much has changed with them, even though we're in the house more. I think if anything, we're just communicating more about like chores, so to speak, you know, finding rhythms with certain laundry, and like I might have something in there when someone else needs to use a washing machine, and we're very flexible and just saying, hey, you know, take it out and put it back in when you're done. Or like, I think we just communicate more just about certain duties. Like obviously we're in the house more, so there's more dirt and more stuff because it's like we're in and out, or just in all the time.
And we've got kids that are growing and
moving
and getting into things and throwing things and pushing. Yeah, it's a full-fledged household we're running here now.
But I think it goes back to just the kind of people we are, you know. If we're able to pick up, we pick up. You know, it's not like, well, she did that, so she needs to do that, or he did that and he needs to do that. It's like, hey, I see something, I'm going to take it upon myself to help it out, like just to fix it. Like all of us are just very easygoing and very respectful in that nature. So I find that it's been a very simple shift to, if we need help, it's like, hey, well, why don't we make a schedule, or why don't we...
The poop schedule.
Yeah, like... You know, every other weekend they'll do that and we'll do this.
We're talking about cleaning up dog shit in the backyard, just so people know.
I just think that it's very easy, which we're very fortunate to have such amazing roommates, Randy and Mark. And I think that it's going really well so far. Again, communicating, being transparent, and then us being respectful, and it pays back, you know, it goes full circle. I think when you're kind to other people, people want to be kind back. So
yeah, I think that's the common denominator, is that all of us understand that, you know, this is a household that we all are responsible for, and everyone's very kind. We tend to pick up when we see other people are doing a little bit more, but I mean, a lot of it goes without saying. Sometimes we do have to have conversations, like we talked about the poop schedule in the backyard. Sometimes it gets a little lax, and you know, we just need to stay ahead of that. Dishes, you know, depends on who cooks. You know, some nights, you know, I'll do the dishes. Other nights, Mark will do the dishes. Some nights, Randy will do the dishes, and you'll do the dishes. But I mean, you do a lot of the cooking, so you know, you're kind of exempt from the dish cleaning. But yeah, it's really nice that we all have that. I don't want to say trust, but, you know, just the trust in each other to kind of pick up when things are, you know, need to be done. So it's great. We love having them here.
And I will add one more thing. I think being able to kind of let go of control because things are a little bit more dirty and out of place. It's like I had to kind of check in with myself and be like, oh, all the dishes weren't done. And I came down, you know, in the kitchen and there was some stuff, or there's things on the counter, and I just had to like, that's all right. Like, it is. Shit's different, and
it'll get cleaned up.
Yeah,
it will.
And the thing is, I'm able to do it, so, and it's not a big deal. Like, there's no reason to be like, well, why wasn't this done? It's like, you know what? It's life. You know, life's messy, and sometimes they may have had an issue. Like, oh my god, I was so tired, or Reese wouldn't go to bed, and I like totally get it. So it's like, who am I to like tell people what they should or shouldn't do? It's just, shut up, Jill, and just pick up the fucking mess. Like, you'll be okay.
Well, and I think it also goes to thinking about the other things that they do for us too. Absolutely. It's just like when you feel like, okay, well, now I'm doing this again, but it's just like, no, they do so much for us too. So, you know, I'm being silly right now.
It is. And I just had to check myself, and kind of what we said back on the episode when we were sitting down and chatting with Randy and Mark, just about like finding things that are out of place, like Reese's bibs, like scattered on the floor, I'm like, I'm going to be sad one day when I don't see Reese's bibs on the floor anymore because that means he's not around. So like I have to find gratitude.
Or if he's outgrown bibs.
I have to find gratitude in the mess because there's a mess because there's amazing people living with us, which is so good.
So I guess that leaves the relationship with our daughter then.
It does.
Where do we start?
I mean, I think the biggest thing to keeping a healthy relationship with Lucille is just also letting go of control and trusting in her decisions.
I feel like I've done that more in the last 5 months than I had before. And maybe it's because I'm here a lot more and I see her throughout the entire day. Or I don't know if I would have done that, just naturally. But yeah, I'm really enjoying just letting go of that control and seeing where her mind takes her. And obviously when she does things that are dangerous, we're going to stop her from doing that, or things that are quote unquote not nice, like pushing down her cousin all the time.
Yeah, man.
But
she pushes him down a lot.
She does. And then when he's sitting down after she's pushed him the first time, she'll go in for the second time and make sure that he's on his back. So it's it'll go away, or
it's all
one
temporary.
day when he's a little bit older and wiser and is able to push her down, she's going to get hers. But yeah, just I love just letting her going and seeing where she's going to go. It's just like what I talked about at the beginning of the podcast and the gratitude portion, was that I don't force her to lay down and go to sleep. If she wants to read a book, we'll read a book. There will be a point where I say, okay, let's try to lay down and go to sleep. And, she usually does. But like last night, she had complete control of how she wanted to go to sleep. And man, I'm just glad that I allowed that to happen.
I think it's pretty marvelous seeing you just transition more and more into being an amazing dad. Like just throughout her stages, because I know this is the really tough part. Like I'm sure there's going to be challenges later. Like every year there's a challenge.
Oh yeah, new challenge.
The challenge this right now is allowing her to process her emotions without judgment.
Mm-hmm.
It's really difficult because you may have been brought up a certain way, or you may have been getting advice from other people about how you should parent. But I think you are taking full ownership of like how you want to parent Lucille and going with it. And we're seeing like crazy benefits with how she's developing and communicating. Yeah. And every kid's different, but man, our daughter is fucking rad as hell.
Well, and I have to thank you for the way that I'm approaching this, because I've learned a ton from you. I mean, you are a natural mother. Like from day one, you have been just on point and you're so great with her. And I've had to learn certain kind of patience and really to be more mindful and say, hey, listen, she needs to explore. She needs to figure things out. It's just the other morning when I was at my parents' house, my dad and I were out walking. He had their dog and I was walking Lucille, and I brought the stroller. She usually doesn't start in the stroller because she likes to walk, but she got in there early and she started crying and just letting it go. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to kind of let her do that because she hasn't had a good cry in the last 24 or 48 hours because Papa's just amazing. And no, I'm just kidding. But she hadn't. And I was just like, you know what? She needs to get this out. She needs to feel that, I think previous me would want to get her to stop as quick as possible. But I realized, that they have to get that out sometimes. So it's just like, yeah, we're going to let it go. We're going to keep walking in this direction and we'll eventually get back to Mimi and Pop-Pop's house. So
wow, babe, that's pretty intuitive just to let her process her feelings. No, but you're absolutely right.
That was the first thing I thought of, is just like, she's got it. And you always say it, she's feeling her feels and she has to feel them sometimes.
Just looks a lot different. She puts it all out there where we all, most of the time we try and hide it in. It's like,
she doesn't care.
So I actually had one more relationship.
Oh.
The relationship with myself.
Yeah.
And I have found that when this whole pandemic started, and I had to be a lot more intentional with setting boundaries so that I was having some chunks of alone time, having chunks of work time and then just having chunks of play time. I feel like there was more physical boundaries before, and we did talk about this, but I'm getting better at practicing those boundaries and deliberately saying no and declining things that, as well, maybe before, like I have to go to all these work meetings, like they're asking me I should go, but now I'm just like, you know what? It's not a good time. I need to do this instead because it's going to prime me to be a better mom, better wife, better Jill,
better teacher.
So I'm finding it being easier because of this COVID situation, saying no and setting really clear boundaries in order to make sure that I feel my best self. I
agree. It was definitely a self-check when I first started working from home. I felt myself working a lot more, and part of it was that we had a responsibility to a lot of our clients to try to get them through this situation. And so I didn't want to let any of my teammates down, and I know they were feeling overworked. We were kind of all in it together doing that. But at the same time, this was something so new that we were all experiencing and trying to figure out how to deal with this and how to deal with kids and how to deal with working remotely and how to deal with not seeing our friends and being able to go out to wherever we wanted. It was just a lot to take in. And you're right. It was kind of, we had to check ourselves and say, hey, listen, this is the long haul. Like, this doesn't seem like it's going to go away. And we need to start pacing ourselves and know when to get up and walk away, know when to say no, realize that this isn't a standard work day anymore, that you can get up and do some things and, get back to your computer later on in the day or in the evening. So it's taken a while to adjust to that, but, I've definitely done that, and I feel much better. Like, I love working from home now. I love being here. I love being able to, shut my laptop off and come up and hang out with Lucille and you and enjoy dinner. And it's just been a great adjustment. I kind of don't want to go back to the office anymore.
Well, who knows what the future holds?
Who knows? Yep. We will see. But anything else about working on yourself?
No, I think we covered it all pretty swimmingly.
Yeah. Nick Kaselniak has some good ideas every now and then.
You do.
Yeah.
You have awesome ideas. You say you're not creative, but
I am.
You are.
Yeah. So you got any resources for our listeners, Jill?
I do. I found a blog post, and this person is also on Instagram as well. Her name is Elizabeth Earnshaw. I believe she is some type of professional counselor. I don't know if it's like marriage counselor, couples counselor, the blog post is titled Relationships in Close Quarters. And she kind of gave what she likes to call her 3 R's. I had a better opening and I forgot it. No.
The 3 R's.
The 3 R's for kind of helping keep relationships healthy when you're are seeing each other all the time. All right. So the first R is rituals. Your schedule and rituals will change. This can make life feel chaotic and disorganized. It also creates a scenario in which you might unintentionally violate other people's needs for connection, quiet, work time, or space. Take time to sit down as a unit to talk about how you would like to ritualize the following. So she gives you examples like alone time, work time, fun time, connection time, and decompressing time.
Is connection time extracurricular activities?
Oh my gosh, probably. And then under each R, she lists really great questions to kind of think about and ask each other and your partner. I didn't put them in there, but if you want to...
Got to check out the blog post.
Yes. So that's the first R. The second R is respect. When people get familiar with each other, they sometimes forget their manners. When we are super comfortable and have little space from each other, it can be easy to become disrespectful in the way we engage with the people we love. And she just asked another great questions to think about the everyday things you do. How are you speaking to each other? Are you, checking in on each other? Just a lot of great questions just to make sure that you're not falling short of, kind of like how we always say we're dating each other. We don't want to get so comfortable that we don't make the extra efforts and do the little things to make each other feel special. Kind of where she was going with that.
RESPECT.
Jesus.
Sock it to me. That always reminds me of the an episode of The Office where Michael Scott is just like trying to say that, and he's like RESPECT because he doesn't know how to spell.
Oh,
it was great.
I love The Office so much.
So the third R, I apologize.
No, it's okay. You always have to put in your humor. Is responsiveness. This is a time of great stress for individuals and families. People are concerned about health, finances, safety, and so much more. Mm-hmm. This is particularly challenging for the relationship. Often when one person is stressed, the other person is able to be responsive to that stress. It becomes a little more difficult when both people are experiencing stress at the same time. How can you create space for the other person when you are feeling as if you don't have space for yourself? And again, she gives you a list of great questions to think about and talk about to realize, are you responsive? Are you being proactive? Like, what can you do to make sure that you're balancing each other out so you both aren't going fucking nuts, together?
And I definitely resonate with that because I feel like at the beginning, like there were times when we were probably both stressed and it was really hard to help each other out and also help yourself out. But now that we've communicated and we've got a routine down, it's very easy to tell if I'm stressed, or it's easy for me to tell if you're stressed. And I know it's just like, okay, let me take Lucille away for a little bit and, give you some time alone. So it almost goes without communicating, but there are times when you're just like, I've got to get away. But like, I think we've done a much better job of being able to take care of each other because we're able to read each other better and we're both not stressed out at the same time.
I agree. So yeah, 3 R's.
Good stuff. And how about that quote of the day there, Jill?
Okay, so I had 2.
Ooh.
Can I share 2?
You can share 2.
Okay.
This is one of those rare episodes where you get 2 quotes of the day.
The first one is from Ernest Hemingway. The most painful thing is losing yourself in the process of loving someone too much and forgetting that you are special too. To me, that resonated so much.
Touche.
I think sometimes we often put others before ourselves and forget that we are important first. And that's what kind of...
It's that classic, you got to take care of yourself before you can take care of others.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to use the airplane reference, put on your mask before you put on your child's mask.
I thought you were going to quote from the movie Airplane, like with Leslie Nielsen.
I'd have to dive into that. I have to think about that one. But yeah. Good stuff. I like that one.
And the last quote is kind of long, but it's from Elizabeth Earnshaw, who is the person who wrote that blog post. The more you work from a space of transparency, the kinder you become. Because then those in your life start to know where you really stand and how you really feel, and offering them that realness is the very kindest, most honest, and the most good you can do.
Word. Agree with that.
Shazam.
You dropped in your Shazam for the episode. All right. And lastly, how about that take action challenge?
Your take action challenge today is to look at your rituals. Look at your respectfulness.
Yes.
And look at your responsiveness to yourself and to the people and the relationships around you.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Way to sum it up there. I love it.
Right? 3 R's.
There you go. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you like this episode, please do us a favor and help us spread the message. You can do this by writing a review or simply by sharing this episode with a friend. And remember, sharing sparks a conversation. Conversation leads to action, and action is how we're able to live a happy and intentional as hell lifestyle. We want to thank you all for listening today, and we will see you again next week.
See you later, guys.